What's up everyone and welcome to another video of the GC channel. I am GC, also known as JohnDorie, and today I will be reviewing the second half of Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, and I will also be talking about what to expect from the TV future of The Walking Dead. So without further ado, let's get started with reviewing Season 6B of Fear the Walking Dead. Starting off with our first episode, and that is The Door.
That's all I got.
Is that gonna be enough to kill all the chompers?
I guess as good as mine.
But there's only one way to find out.
Ah! Morgan!
I'll pull him down!
Dakota! You know how to drive? Turn this thing around!
This episode primarily focuses on the last moments of our dear JohnDorie. And he was a great character, we all loved this guy and we hated to see him go. And this episode primarily focuses on him, Dakota and Morgan getting back to the rest of the group. It's an episode that reveals a lot of unanswered questions, and it is also an episode where we lose one of the biggest characters on the show. We lose John right after John finds out that Dakota killed our dear Ranger Cameron, and then she just kills John because he knows the truth now. And we also immediately after John is shot by Dakota also find out that Dakota is the one who saved Morgan. And that was a big twist. But overall, this is actually a pretty great episode in my opinion. It ends John's story in a pretty good way actually, even though it was pretty sad to see him go. He did die in a pretty great way actually. His death was pretty well done, being shot by Dakota and then being pushed off the bridge, and then eventually dying from blood loss and stranding on the very place where his story began, right by his cabin. And overall it's a pretty entertaining, fun episode. And yeah, it really sets up a lot of the future for Season 6B. So yeah, great episode. Let's move on with the next one. And that is Things That Do.
Put it down. I said, put it down. Unless you want to join him.
What the hell's going on here?
She took it off the body. Something tells me it wasn't for sentimental reasons.
I was giving you a chance to pay your respects,
Look
June.
for the person who did this. Why?
Why what?
Why did your sister kill my husband? I saved your life, Virginia. Because of what you said about her, what she meant to you, and that is the only reason you are still breathing, and he isn't. Answer me.
I don't know why she did it.
I think you do.
This was one of the most shocking and greatest episodes of the whole season actually in my opinion. Because this episode is really a big turn for the season. I thought personally that this whole season will be about taking down the pioneers, and then maybe the Doomsday group, who are led by Teddy, will help our dear group to take them down. However, the season goes way different than that. Instead, right in this episode, the pioneers are all defeated, when they are all turned on by Victor's rebellion and Morgan's group, and also Sherry's people. The pioneers are all taken down by them, and Virginia is then taken prisoner by Morgan, and she is about to be executed. But then she is let go because we don't have to kill people just to make peace. That is just horrible. Kind of like the whole it's kind of like how the Saviors storyline ended, with Negan somehow being left alive by Rick, because he thought that if we keep killing these people, then we become eventually worse than people we are trying to fight. And that is a good message, but it is also a little bit rehashing, and that was a little bit disappointing actually. However, the episode completely saved itself from being another cliche by revealing that Dakota is actually the daughter of Virginia instead of being her annoying little sister. And another great moment in this is of course the great ending where Jane shoots Virginia because she blames her for the death of John instead of Dakota. And that was a pretty amazing big moment, and it was awesome to see actually. It was great. So yeah, this overall is a pretty amazing, shocking episode with some really great moments in it. It may be the best episode on the entire show, who knows.
You ask how I felt when the day began. I felt hopeful.
Reputations changeable, situations terrible, but baby you're adorable, handle me with care. I'm so tired of being lonely, I still have some love to give. Won't you show me that you really care?
However, in Handle With Care we mostly focus on our group at Morganstown, and they think there's someone in their middle who is going to betray them, and there's all sort of craziness in that place going on, and they are trying to find out more about the people who Virginia was hunting. We call them the Doomsday Group. They don't really have a name, but they are led by this crazy guy Teddy. We learn more about him later on in the season. And this episode primarily focuses on Daniel. He's a little bit crazy up in his head. He does all kinds of crazy things. Eventually, he ends up being kind of like a bad guy in this episode, and then he is taken into the Pioneers community to settle down there and have his mind be taking control again, because he's now a little bit messed up inside and gets the group a little bit into trouble. And that's kind of like the whole episode. Morgan accidentally getting the group into trouble. And that was a pretty interesting episode for sure, but it wasn't really one we needed. But it was good, I guess. Then we have the holding.
Where are the new recruits?
Some survivors the patrol saved from a herd of posters. Teddy says they're in really rough shape. How are we looking?
They're on their way down.
Yeah, they've been checked. It's okay. I know you've been through a lot. But you can come out. We're not gonna hurt you. Welcome to the holding. I think you're gonna like it here. you sure this is the place Dakota was talking about?
Yeah.
This episode focuses on Alicia, Al, Lucy, and Wes, who are going to the holding, the place where our dear Doomsday group is settling down and preparing to make an end of the world, so the world can begin again. They are the Doomsday group, the terrorists in this apocalypse. They are crazy and messed up in their minds. They are a crazy cult. And it is a great episode, especially when it's revealed that Wes's brother Derek is still alive and is part of this crazy group, and that he also wants to turn his brother to the group. Of course, our dear Wes isn't really that stupid as his brother, and he ends up killing his own brother. And then our whole group of 4 gets out, except for Alicia, who sacrifices herself and destroys the holding and is then taken prisoner by this crazy Doomsday cult. We also find out that the Doomsday cult knows more about the CRM, and then they may be hunting them, and so Al leaves by the end of the episode and tries to find Isabel and the rest of the CRM to warn them for Doomsday cult. And that is kind of like the whole episode. It is a pretty great episode for sure. I really liked it.
Dwight, how's the harvest doing?
Good. It'll be ready by next week. Hey, easy with that. Who would have thought? He's more of a hellraiser than I was at his age.
I don't know about that, Dee. Morgan, did you get the tomato seeds? Now's the time to plant them.
Oh, yeah, I will stop up at the seed store on my run this afternoon. Oh, sorry, this,
Hey, I'm Dwight. Sherry.
And this is Tina. And the boy over there, that's John. So nice to see such a happy family living here.
We got lucky. Hey, don't forget those seeds.
seeds.
Come on, bud.
Then we have the next episode, In Dreams. This episode mostly focuses on Grace and Morgan. They are stuck in this cabin and they are being hunted by the cult people. And meanwhile, our dear Grace is unconscious. Well, she is also supposed to give birth to her new baby, who turns out to be a girl, and she wants to name it Efina. And she is stuck in this dream sequence, and in this dream sequence, she believes that her daughter is the answer to solve every problem in her life right now. She thinks that her daughter is kind of like the chosen one, that she is about to die and her daughter is supposed to live, and that she will defeat the Doomsday cult, that she will bring peace to the world, that she will make everyone believe again in everything, and they will settle down and be friends and be couples together, and that the world becomes a happy ever after place. However, sadly, that is not the thing that is about to be happening. Instead, it becomes a way more different. Instead, our dear Efina dies in childbirth. And so, yeah, her daughter is dead now and she is still alive. And so we all thought during this episode that we would lose Grace, but instead we lose her daughter, who we barely got to know. And it is a great episode that makes us care about a character we barely know anything about. And that is a pretty great twist, actually. It is one of the first shows that's able to actually make us care about someone for such a short time. And so, yeah, it's a pretty great episode, actually.
And just when you least expect it in this apocalypse, you run into someone who just might totally turn your world upside down.
Where'd you get that gun?
Why should I tell you?
Then we have JD, and this episode is actually pretty great. It is very interesting. In this episode we find out that John's father, John Sr., is actually still alive. We all thought he might have died and that he has left his family, but actually he is still alive, hunting for the guy who is responsible for a lot of murders and is pretty crazy messed up, and is now also leading this crazy cult, and that is our dear Theodore Maddox, primarily known as Teddy. And yeah, he's messed up in his head, and John Sr. is the one who wants to hunt him. And so in this episode mostly focuses on the father of John, who wants to find out more about Teddy and also wants to say goodbye to his son in a pretty good way. And so John gets his own funeral with his dad and with June being there. And it was a great episode, sure. I really liked it. It was pretty interesting.
Take that. Cole?
Alicia?
Is that you?
I was gonna ask you the same question.
Who the hell is that?
An old friend.
What kind of old friend?
Her mom? It's the only reason I ain't one of these skin bags.
Your mother, huh? How's that for a sign?
And then we have the next episode, which primarily focuses on Alicia, Teddy, and Dakota being on the journey to, actually, I don't really know what they're doing in this episode. We focus, we focus Alicia, Dakota, and Teddy as they are on a journey to find the corpse of Teddy's mother, and they end up finding the corpse, but they also encounter a lot of people from Alicia's past, and those people are Cole, Douglas, and Five. We know them from the season 4 flashback, and we thought they died when the Dell Diamond fell and Madison sacrificed herself, but apparently they survived, and they have been robbing a lot of people who they have met and taking their stuff and maybe also killing them, and they are about to do the same to Alicia, Teddy, and Dakota. However, Alicia doesn't want that because she needs Teddy to know about his crazy plan to destroy the world. And so eventually Alicia ends up killing her old friends Cole, Thief, and Douglas, and a lot of other people. And then for some reason Teddy trusts her because she kind of saved his life, and he now thinks that she is the one who has to rebuild the world when he has destroyed it. And so the episode ends with Alicia being taken prisoner by the cult people. She is then locked in a bunker so she can't get hit by the nukes. And our dear Dakota becomes a member of this crazy cult group. And this episode's mother is actually also a little bit about Teddy. We find out that he is pretty crazy and that he also killed his own mother. That's also why the episode is called Mother. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting, well-known episode. Pretty great. And the next two episodes are also pretty good.
Does everyone know that they're gonna die?
So you ready to do this?
How are we looking, Riley?
2 minutes.
We get US Pennsylvania, which is a good episode, but was a little bit... Yeah, I have mixed thoughts about this episode. We follow our group as they are trying to stop the nukes from going into the sky and blowing the whole world up. And we have our group going into the submarine and trying to get to Teddy and Riley and Dakota, who are trying to launch these nukes. And eventually Morgan and Victor are the only ones who get close enough to Teddy and Riley and Dakota. And the rest of our group stays behind. And eventually Victor and Morgan get to Teddy and Riley, but not before Victor suddenly becomes a little bit crazy, turns on Morgan and leaves him for dead to be devoured by walkers. However, Morgan somehow survives and ends up saving Victor later on when he is confronted by Dakota, who is about to shoot Vic. And then Morgan saves Vic's life by knocking out Dakota. Then, right after that, they get to Riley and Teddy, but not in time, because they have already launched one of the nukes. And so, the nuke goes off, and it's about to go boom and destroy a big part of the world. And that's the end of this episode.
Almost time.
It's just the beginning.
Then eventually we go right to the next episode, which is a pretty amazing episode actually. We follow every character right before the world is about to end. The episode opens with Rachel, who is there with her kid Morgan and with Rufus, and she gets injured. Her wreck ends up being stuck under a car after she tried to fix it. She is not able to move that great anymore, and so she ends up killing herself, slicing her own belly open so that she can turn into a walker and have her kid be transported to Morgan and the rest of the people. And so, yeah, we open pretty sad actually with the death of character. We didn't really get to know that much, but yeah, it was a pretty sad opening actually. We also have a lot of other plot lines in this episode, focusing on all of our characters. We have Lucy, Wes, Jacob, Sarah, Riley, Raleigh, Daniel and Chari, who are also trying to get away from the bomb. And they first follow Raleigh, who thinks he has a place where he can hold up, because there's a bunker, that's the hotel, where Alicia is being taken prisoner. He thinks that he can go there, but eventually it turns out that that was a whole trap to kill our group, or just have them giving them a great view, because yeah, that's the end for our group, they think. But because Raleigh turns out to be a spy for the cult people, and Daniel luckily finds out about it quicker than Riley and Raleigh expected. So Daniel shoots Raleigh in the head, and then Riley is about to kill Daniel, but he is shot by Charlie. And so we lose two big bats in this episode, and that was a pretty great moment. Then Daniel has a place where they may go because he has heard some coordinates from a mysterious person who later turned out to be Al. And they just go to that place, and they are being saved by the CRM later on. Then we also have a storyline with Dwight and Sherry, who are trying to have a happily ever after moment with some beer and some pretzels. But eventually they come around this family who were robbed by some members of the cult, who were trying to find a bunker and hide there because they didn't want to die. Dwight and Sherry help this family to take care of these cult people. They kill them and then they can hide in the bunker, maybe survive the whole nuke. Then we also have Victor, who is on his journey to get as far away from the nuke as possible. And he gets to this big building where he meets this guy Howard. And he lies to him about who he is. He tells him he is a hero and he tried to stop the nuke but wasn't there in time. That his name is Morgan Jones. Then, of course, that is a lie. And when the nuke finally explodes and he survives, our dear Victor, because he's just far away enough, he tells to our dear Howard that he is actually the asshole we all know he is. That he leaves people for dead to only save himself. And despite the credits, he has been doing quite well. And now he tells Howard, let's rebuild this world with history and music and culture. And so this finale kind of sets up Victor to become the big villain of the next season. And that's a pretty interesting storyline, pretty great. However, I don't really like that storyline because I know that Victor is a dick, but I also kind of like him, so I don't really want him to turn into a villain. So I really want to see where the storyline goes, but I also want it to end. So yeah. Then we have a storyline focused on Grace and Morgan, who are trying to have their last nice moments together before the nuke goes off. They end up finally admitting to themselves that they love each other, and they are about to kill each other because they don't want to die being killed by this nuke. They think it's better to just shoot themselves in the head. But then they hear a baby, which turns out to be our dear Morgan baby. They go outside, find baby Morgan, who is being led by our dear Rufus. The nuke goes off and they are about to hide and survive. Then there's only one storyline left in this episode, which is one of the greatest actually in my opinion, and that is the end of our dear Teddy and Dakota. They are about to wait at a place to see the amazing view of this big nuke explosion. Then they are being followed by John Senior and June. John Senior finds out that Teddy actually wanted to hide from the nuke explosion together with Dakota so that they can set off more nukes when the explosion is done and finish what they have started, since they wanted to set up more nukes than just one. It also turns out that Teddy just needed Dakota to turn those keys. He just wanted her to become on her side. He never really cared about her, even though he showed care about her. Dakota is kind of confused. She wants to trust John about Teddy. And she also believes Teddy, who she really thinks that cares about him. And so eventually she doesn't really know what to do, and she ends up staying above with Teddy, and then John and June are about to hide in the bunker where Teddy wants to wait out. And so they end up surviving the nuke, but Dakota and Teddy not. Instead, Dakota does a pretty great thing actually. It maybe even redeem her whole character, because we all hate Dakota for killing John and turning on Alicia and the rest of the group and just being a little bit annoying, or actually very annoying. And now she has done something pretty heroic. She killed the crazy guy Teddy because he lied about caring about her and that he only used her. And so she shoots him in the chest and head, and that's the end of Teddy. A pretty great death in my opinion. And then Dakota just stands and looks at the view of the nuke explosion, and she is killed by it in a pretty big and awesome way. And we know that Alicia also survived because she was in that bunker. We got a quick point of view from her, and we know that she survived. And so actually mostly of our characters survive. We only lose Rachel, Riley, and Teddy and Dakota. So those were some pretty big deaths, but not really the biggest. And even though we don't lose that many big characters, we do end up having a great finale. It was a pretty great finale. It sets up a lot of things for the future. Victor is about to be the big villain. And that's the next thing which I actually want to talk about. What is left for The Walking Dead Season 7? So yeah, that is kind of like what I expect from Season 7, a big time jump where our group is trying to rebuild the world, and Victor is trying to get away of building that beautiful world and instead builds a less beautiful world where he kills people only to save his own skin, and he probably gets a lot of followers. And so yeah, we kind of have this whole big battle in Season 7, I believe, where two groups talk about what is the best way to rebuild this horrible world. And maybe we also have some CRM storylines stuck in the middle. That is kind of what I expected for Season 7. But overall, Season 6 is a great season for sure. I will almost give it a 10. But I don't do it because it disappointed me a little bit at times. And so I will not give it that. I will give it instead a 9.7. Now, what's left for The World Beyond?
We have energy, water, medicine, transport, the council, the courts, the schools, culture, currency and economy, agriculture, manufacturing, law. We are the last light of the world.
Season 1 ended with, first up, Hope being taken prisoner by the CRM by Huck and Elizabeth, after it turns out that Huck is actually a spy from the CRM and is the daughter of this Elizabeth leader of the CRM. And it all turns out that the whole journey to trying to save the father of Hope is all about Hope being taken by the CRM. And so Hope is taken prisoner because a lot of people think that she might be the answer to finding this vaccine. We also have Leo, the father of Hope, and Iris, who is now settling down and having a relationship with this crazy scientist, Lila. And we also have Iris and Felix, who end up finding Will and his rebellion group who wants to go up against CRM. Then we have Silas, who was taken prisoner by the CRM because it was found by them or something. And then he was taken prisoner by the CRM, and now he's, I think, holed up in a cell. Maybe he meets that guy who was also taken prisoner by the CRM, who in the past worked for them, but didn't want to work for them because CRM killed the entire campus colony. What was his name? His name was Barca. Yeah, Barca. Okay. So that's that. And then finally we have Percy and Elton, who are running from the CRM and gets away. And we know that Percy wants to kill Huck to get revenge for his uncle Tony, because we learned that Huck was the one who killed Tony, not Silas. And so yeah, that was a pretty crazy and turnish. So yeah, that was pretty good twist and all. We may not like Huck right now, but I actually think that Huck will end up saving the day, because by the end of the season we know that Elizabeth is a little bit crazy in her head. She thinks that the more people you kill, the more balanced the entire world is. And so yeah, she thinks everyone is a threat now, and I don't think that Huck is okay with that. And so she may end up killing her own mother next season, who knows. I think that Percy and Elton will come around Iris, Felix, Will, and the rest of this rebellion and help them take down the CRM. And I think that Huck will kind of be like a spy to the rebellion this time. She will turn on her mother and maybe kill her eventually, who knows. But I think the CRM will be taken down, or partly taken down, since we also have the Rick Grimes movies, but who knows, maybe they will be a prequel. And this, yeah, maybe that takes place before CRM is taken down. Or maybe our group wants to take down the CRM, but it fails and they all die, who knows. But we also have Leo, who is in love with this crazy doctor, who is also part of this whole taking the cure and believing in using the ways. So yeah, I don't know if this will eventually end up with Leo being killed by his own now sort of girlfriend. I hope not, but it kind of looks that way, because I had this big thing that Leo is gonna die. Then we of course have Iris and Hope, and I think that they may be the whole answer to finding that exam, because they are both very, very smart. So I think that they will both save the world, of course. That is probably where this whole season will end. I'm not sure if all her characters will survive, but I think that Iris and Hope will eventually be the answer to saving the world from what it has been turning into. Of course, we also have Silas, who is probably being taken out of prison and finally redeeming himself for killing his own dad and all, even though he doesn't have to necessarily. And I think that Percy will probably eventually forgive Huck after she showed to him that she's actually a good girl now. So yeah, that's kind of like the whole season 2, I think. It will end most likely with CRM being taken down by our group. Or our group will all be killed by the CRM and then the CRM wins. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. It will take a long time before the season 2 of World Beyond arrives. There has been some filming delays due to the coronavirus still being a thing in our world. And so we'll have to wait a little bit longer for season 2 of The World Beyond to air on TV. Right now it looks like it will air somewhere during the fall of 2021. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how it will turn out. But I think that is the most likely case.
Your time has come. Who will you become? When nothing's as it seems. Who will you become?
Then finally we have The Walking Dead season 11. And I think that this season will focus primarily on only two things. We know by the end of season 10, I think the Whispers are pretty much done. Beta and Alpha are both dead. And most of the Whisperers have been killed by our survivors by the end of season 10. There may be some Whisperers that have survived and they may come around to season 11, but I don't think so. I actually think that the Whisperers are done. I think that they should move away from the Whisperers and instead focus on the other two interesting storylines, and those are first up the Reapers, who were introduced by the end of season 10. They were hunting Maggie's group and now they are a big enemy of our entire group of heroes. We know that the season 11 will be the final season of The Walking Dead, and it will split up into 3 parts and we'll have 24 episodes. And so I think that the first part will be about the Reapers and our group want to take down the Reapers, and I actually think that the Commonwealth, who is also coming around in this season, will most likely help our group to take down the Reapers. Then the second part of season 11 will most likely focus on the Commonwealth as a whole. Commonwealth doesn't really have the best politics going on there, and so there's a whole big rebellion going on in the Commonwealth, and our group is stuck in the middle of it. And Rick turns out to be the one who solves everyone's problem, and he becomes kind of like a new leader. But then he is killed by our dear Sebastian, who is the son of the crazy leader of the Commonwealth, Pamela. But we know that Rick is not on the show anymore, so I think that because Aaron has been taking over sort of Rick appearance with his beard and with his iron arm. So yeah, I think that Aaron will become the new Rick and that he will become this answer to everyone. And then he ends up being shot by Sebastian. And in the comics, Carl takes down Walker Rick. And Carl is also not on the show anymore, so I think that Gracie will take down her reanimated father. But I actually have this feeling, like a lot of other people, that there may be some kind of big war between CRM and the Commonwealth and our group. So that may also be a focus of season 11. Or they believe that for the Walking Dead movies, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, the thing that we can definitely expect from this season is a big time jump where our group finally settles down and start to live a life. And the apocalypse has pretty much ended because all the walkers are wiped out. We will probably have a grown-up Judith who may be married to Hershey Jr., who knows. I think that Rosita probably is now a big grandma and has her daughter, Coco, and she probably also has a big family. Lydia is probably now a big badass and also has her own happy family. I don't know, so maybe she ends up with Gage, who later turns into a nice guy instead of the dick he is now. Probably Maggie will settle down and become a leader of Hilltop, which has been rebuilt. Maybe she will end up with Alden, who knows? Because Alden may become the new Dante from the comics. Of course, Gracie ends up also building a family, maybe together with RJ, who knows? We still have Nico left. I think that maybe he has settled down and found his own home and is now living there, far away from the rest of the world. Then we have, of course, Eugene, who is probably building train tracks, just like in the comics. Then we only have to talk about Carol and Daryl, who of course will have their own spin-off. And so I think that their storyline will end with them going on a bike to explore the rest of the world, see what's left, and maybe help some people on the way. And that will be their spin-off, I believe. And yeah, that's kind of everything. I will not be talking about who and who will not survive this season, because I kind of want to do a big death predictions video. That's also why I didn't really talk about that in the World Beyond and in Fear, because I just want to do a big death predictions video about who will die in the Fear the Walking Dead Season 7, in the World Beyond Season 2, and in The Walking Dead Season 11. So you can expect 3 death predictions videos to come in the near future. So yeah, that is actually all that I have to talk about right now. So tell me down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Fear the Walking Dead Season 6B? What do you think will happen in the near future of the Walking Dead franchise? It will be a while before I will upload another video. I will be busy for a few weeks, so I don't think I will be able to make another video. And I also think that after I come back, I will kind of change the channel, because I want to change the name and maybe also change my banner and the whole channel as a whole, because the quote GC is actually used in a lot of other YouTube channels. So yeah, I think that if I change my name to Joe Coin instead of the GC channel, then I will have maybe a bigger wide audience. Then people will be able to easier find my channel on YouTube. So I think I will do that. In the near future I will have a whole video about what you can expect from my new channel called Joe Coin. And so that will kind of be like a new trailer or introduction to my channel called Joe Coin. So yeah, this is actually my final video as the GC channel. I hope you guys enjoyed, because the journey of the GC channel has ended and the journey of Joe Coin will now begin. But anyway, I see you guys in the near future. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, that was this channel. Let's move on to Joe Coin. Subscribe to my channel. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram. And I see you guys next time.